Okay, this is the engine compartment of a 1970 Chevelle SS car. It is a big block car. It appears to have started life as an SS. It has power steering, it has power brakes, and it has a vintage air system installed on it. So it does have air conditioning at this point. They did a nice job of this installation. They ran the hoses across the front of the engine and then underneath the fender well, or across the top of the fender well and underneath the fender, and then into the heater box, air conditioning box that really cleans the engine compartment up, so you don't have these hoses hanging across the inner fender panels going over to the box. Nice clean installation. Brand spanking new alternator on it. Still has the anodization, cadmium plating on the fins. Conventional pulley system on it. It has a clutch fan on it that is nice and tight yet, nice and functional the way it should be. The original shroud for the radiator. It does have a high capacity big block Chevy radiator in it, so it's a 4-pass huge radiator GM installed in these cars when they were new. New air conditioning condenser in front of the radiator. 2 horns on this guy. New battery with a shut off so that you can shut the juice off in this thing when you're not using it, whenever it's sitting in a garage for a period of time. The radiator core support header panel does not appear to have ever been compromised in any way. Everything is nice and straight and clean on it, just the way it should be. The top of the radiator protector, nice and clean too. It's just as nice as it was when it was new. There's no distortion whatsoever on it. Inner fender panels are semi-flat black, the way they were from the factory. It has some insulation sound deadener on it. It is not a functional cowl induction hood. It does have a cowl induction style hood on it, but it is not a functional one. The radiator hoses on top and bottom are the correct type GM hoses for the car, and in fact all the hoses on this vehicle are all new. They're all correct and all new. It also has heat going to the passenger compartment, so it has air conditioning and heat. If it would go one of the northern states, you still have heat that's functional. The engine itself, somebody's put a lot of time and a lot of money in this motor. It definitely a big block Chevy. It started life as a 454. At this point, it's hard to tell the internals, you know, so it could be a 454, a 502, a 468, a 496. You know, all over the place, you know, depending on what stroker kit you use. But we know it was a 454, at least to start life. It has a dual feed hauling on it, vacuum secondaries on it, an RPM Edelbrock intake manifold. And this is where things get really interesting, because someone's gone to the expense. It has a high dollar set of trick flow aluminum heads on this engine. So it states it is 450 horsepower, and I have no reason to doubt that it's at least at that number. So we don't know if it's an LS6 or started life as an LS5 or whatever it may be. There's no numbers on the engine because it had been machined off. But the engine itself is a high dollar, complete, fresh rebuild. New water pump on the front of it. The correct style for 1970 valve pan covers with the GM designation, Chevy designation on it. It has correct 14-inch unsilenced air cleaner that would have come on this vehicle. Has an HEI distributor in it, MSD system, I believe, and the plug wires are high silicone plug wires also, and nicely routed too. They're not just thrown across the top of the motor. They're routed with the correct type wire looms holding them so that they're not in contact with the headers at any point. The header system itself is a nice set of long tube. They appear to be 2-inch. Just by looking at them, you know, I don't want to definitively say they're 2-inch. They may be a little bit bigger, I don't know. But they're a good set of 2-inch ceramic-coated long tube headers that are installed on these aluminum heads. And you can see everything on this engine is all fresh. Everything is just a complete fresh rebuild on this motor. No leaks whatsoever on the top of this engine or in the front of it. The cam cover, timing chain cover is leak-free, and so are the valve pan covers and the intake manifold at this point. Great looking engine. I think I did mention it did have power brakes. It does have power steering, dual stage master cylinder. The engine compartment is really, really well defined. It's a great looking car, great sounding car, which you'll hear further on in our video here. And I'm sure it makes substantial horsepower. What it is, I don't know, but I'm sure it's at least 4.5, and considerably more than that, I'm sure. Nice engine compartment, nice and clean, very well detailed and defined, and it's a fantastic horsepower maker under this hood. We're going to go around the rest of it for you now. You're at Hanksters in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I love it. Every time I think we got our last 1970 Chevelle, for one reason or another, Kevin manages to come up with another one, and this guy is really outstanding. It is a convertible, obviously, and we're going to go over it and show you everything about it, but this car is just absolutely stunning. The car is just absolutely beautiful. First time I've actually looked at it, other than just walking around it to take a look at it real quickly, but the car is just, it is not a driver quality car in any way. This car is absolute show quality, finish, fit, engine compartment wise, everything. The paint it's white, it is not a metallic white, and it also has, you can see that black SS style striping, and they're cleared over. This thing has a lot of clear on it. You can't feel the stripes. They're there, but you can't feel them. Fitment of the hood, you can see, is just as nice as you'd ever want to be. 1/8 of an inch the whole way around, and look, even your headlight bucket assembly is the same way. 1/8 of an inch, look at that, the whole way. The whole way it transitions clean to the base of the windshield. There's not an imperfection that I can see. Not a mark, not a ding, not a chip in the paint, absolutely nothing. And again, this paint is not driver quality. This is absolute show quality finish on this vehicle. It's as good as you can get. Headlight buckets, no patina whatsoever on the chrome bezels around the headlights. How about that? Still got a T3 headlight in it. Pretty rare item there. Got another one on this side here. And this one too. Let me see. All 4 of them. You got all 4 T3 headlights. Look and see what those cost for you sometime. SS designation on the grille. The plastic part, there's no windows missing in it, no real area missing or chipped up or marked up. Chevrolet designation, just as clean as it can possibly be. Again, no patina whatsoever on these chrome bezels around the lights. Let's check this bumper. Absolute precise fitment. No scuffs, no marks on the front of the bumper from some idiot putting their foot up on it through the years, but which you do encounter quite a bit. But this guy has absolutely no defects whatsoever on it. Bumper alignment, again, is just as straight and nice and as linear as you could ever hope to find. Front of it, let me run my hands across that. Absolutely no dinghies, no marks whatsoever, nothing from stones being chipped up or someone tapping it from the nose. Parking lights, nice clear lenses on them, crystal clear. And again, the chrome on the bumper and fitment is as precise as you could possibly get. That is, and I can't use the term perfect, but as near perfection of a front end as you could ever hope to find, both fit and finish-wise. Now we got to do side. Okay, it's the driver's side of our absolutely stunning Chevelle. Look at this. There's not a... I wish you could see this, you know, other than in real life. You know, come down and look at this car because it's worth the trip. Side marker lamp, just the way it should be in the front. Wheel lip molding. Not a single defect on it. SS454 designation the way it should be. And look at this. It cannot possibly fit any more precise than it is here. There's just no way. It's impossible. That is as precise a fitment as you could ever hope to find. The correct wiper arms, modern style blades, you know, the single sweep type blade that they have on it. Doesn't hurt it. They're hidden down there. You can't really see them anyway. But it does have the correct arms on it, which is the important part. Trim around the front windshield here, just as nice as you'd ever hope to find. Absolutely no defects, no dinghies in them whatsoever. The top of the dash, there is its original dashboard. There's a little tiny, you can hardly see it, and I mean hairline. It's a little hairline crack that I can see right there. that gives it a little kind of like a smile there. I don't know, somebody's hand came off of it and hit the dashboard when it was cold at some point. I really have no idea what happened, but there is a slight mark. Certainly nothing that you'd ever address or that we would fix or replace the dash pad for. It's the original dash pad in the car, I'm going to guess, and there's certainly no reason to ever even think about replacing it, but I'm telling you there's a mark there. You can't hardly see it, you got to really see it at the correct angle, but it's there. Speaker enclosures, there's no deterioration. Your perforations on them are nice and clean yet, and there's no cracks between them. There's no distortions in the rest of the dashboard either, by the way. There's absolutely none. It's just as straight and clean and nice as you could possibly get. Where it transitions to the base of the windshield, as clean as the day this car was produced. The VIN tag, very nice, out and legible. You can see it's never been disrupted. This car is just totally amazing. Obviously, it has a new convertible top on it. Look how nicely it's stretched. There's you can bounce balls off of the top of it. Nice tight top on it. Oh, almost forgot to mention sunshade fade windshield in it. There's also no marks from the wipers through the years. It's probably been a replacement windshield, and that's why it's so clean down around here. Whenever they replaced it, they cleaned everything up. But the windshield's flawless. It is tinted, and it is sunshade fade. And so are the side windows. They're tinted also. Wipes, whiskers. Look at that. There's a rubber piece that goes. You got your wipe whisker, then you have a stainless bead, and then you have a piece of rubber that transitions onto the top of the door and top of the quarter panel. Yeah, I can't get your fingernail underneath it. Precise fitment. Can't be any better. And check this out. Look at the way the window fits to the rear quarter glass, which, by the way, this is usually deteriorated. It is not nice shiny chrome, just the way it should be. Door handle, absolute new. No patina whatsoever. It's just as brand new as it was when it was new. Side mirrors, and it does have a pair of them. They're the correct rectangular type mirrors that GM would have installed on this car new from the factory. Look at this. The door to the rocker panel is even as precise as you could hope to fit something. And the same with this door where it goes onto the quarter. Another one I don't have to adjust. Yay! One more thing I don't have to do. Wheel lip molding, the same as it was on the front. There's absolutely no imperfections in this paint. Absolutely none. Again, the convertible top. Look at this. How nice it is. Glass window in the back. And a new well, too. There's no deterioration in the well area, which is real common on these old convertibles. They'll put a new top on it, they'll put new pads on it, but they'll forget to do the well. That well is as it was when it was new. Trim around the base of the convertible top in the back. Absolutely flawless. No dents, no dingies whatsoever on it. And we got, look at that, nice sharp tin. Tin everywhere. Side marker lamp in the back. Nice as you'd hope to find. I'll tell you what, this thing is, there's no doors on it. It has no doors. Not till about right here. I can see a little bit of a gap there. 14-inch road wheels on this vehicle. Super stock wheels, super sport wheels, whatever you want to call them. They were manufactured by Kelsey Hayes at this point in time anyway, but they're 14-inch. They're correct for this car. It does have a set of BFG radial TAs, which is like the common tire that people are using on any of the collector cars at this point in time. We just did the front. You just saw me do the side. We didn't find one deviation. We didn't find one chip, mark, scuff, nothing. Absolutely nothing so far. Let's do the back and the other side, and I think we got a near perfection in a car. Okay, the rear section of our 70 Chevelle SS style convertible here. Look at this again. Look at the fitment of this thing. This is totally amazing. Just totally amazing. Everything as precise as can possibly be. And the finish, again, you know, it's that deep. That's what it appears to me when I'm looking at this thing. There's not a ding, a dent, a deviation, a scratch, a scrape, nothing. Chevelle, a Chevrolet on the back, the way it should be. Look at the fitment of this thing. It's totally crazy. Okay, back bumper. Let's try that. See if we can find something there. Absolute precise. This thing fits like it was molded onto it. It really does. Tail light assemblies, argent around the sides the way it should be. Nice crystal clear shiny lenses on them. Both sides. The SS rubber bumper in the back. Usually these things have a little bit of wear showing on them. This one has absolutely none, and it still has the white SS on it and the white pinstriping trim around it, just the way it was in 1970. Look how linear the rear valance is on this vehicle, where it mates up to the bumper. Looks like there's a gap, precise the whole way across this thing, just the way it should be. The correct style stainless steel exhaust tips coming out the back, the way they would have been for 1970. There's no marks on the back of this bumper. The same thing on top here. Nothing from people dragging something out of the trunk and sliding it across the bumper. There are no imperfections whatsoever, nor are there any dents or marks or anything in it that I can feel. Look, it even fits the valance the way everything else fit on this car. Someone spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to bring this car to this degree. Fantastic back end, side and front. We have one more side to go yet, and I have a feeling it's going to be the same as the rest of it. Okay, last side, our passenger side. So far this thing's been absolutely flawless for us. You know what? Hold on one second. There is, and I don't know why they do this, but GM left a little ditch between the quarter panel and this back panel here that goes up, transitions up to the top. And when guys paint these, for whatever reason, they try to fill these in. And no matter what you do, because it is a flex area, you'll always have a little bit of a crack in it. And that is still prevalent. You can see that. You can't see it here, but I can feel it. There's a little tiny bit of one there also. But it's so minuscule that you can't really define it. I'm telling you, it's there. It's supposed to be there. There was a ditch there to begin with, and when someone did this, they filled most of it in, but it's still going to have a separation at some point, which that does. Normal wear. That is normal. You don't fix it. Side marker lamp in the back, just the way it's supposed to be. Tin, just like the other side. This quarter panel is just absolutely flawless, just like it was on the other side. And again, our glass window. But look at this top. Can you believe this? Somebody spent a lot of money and a lot of time on this guy. Wheel lip, that's 3 for 3 now, not a single imperfection on it. Somebody forgot to roll this window up a little way, so we'll do that. Again, the white whiskers, nice tight fitment, cannot get any better. Again, look at this fitment. Totally amazing. The front glass to this rear quarter glass, which again, the chrome is just flawless on it. Absolutely perfect fitment. Quarter panel to the door. You got to be kidding me. To the rocker panel. I don't have to adjust a single thing on this car. Absolutely nothing. Our mirror for the right-hand side. A definite good add on any of these cars. I don't know how we can drive without them. Again, door to the front fender. Look at that. Totally amazing. Trim around the front windshield. Same as it was on the other side. And again, our dash. The speaker perforations, just as though they were new yet. No splits, no cracks, no wear between them, which is real common from age on these vehicles. And I'm sure that's the original dash on this yet. SS454 designation. Okay, that's 4 for 4. Not a single door edge mark on any of them. Side marker lamp in the front, nice flush fitment. Look at this. This car's totally amazing. You just watch me go over this entire vehicle. We're back where we started again. There's not a panel that's out of line. There's not a flaw in the paint. There's not an imperfection that you could detect on this vehicle. You know, most of the time I try to compare this stuff to new 488s and GT3 Porsches or GT2 Porsches, but this car really nears that type of finish and perfection. Very rarely do you get a car that whenever we get it in, we don't have to adjust one thing or another, and we point them out. You know, we have to adjust the door, we have to adjust the trunk, the deck lid, the hood. This car absolutely is precise. It does not need any attention whatsoever. I haven't driven it yet. We're going to see what this guy runs like, but it's a 70 SS Chevelle convertible. 70 Chevelles by themselves are very, very difficult to locate and to find that aren't just completely used up through the years. This car retains a lot of its originality, and it's refined to a degree that this car never was when it left the factory in 1970. They never had finishes like this. They never had fit and door gaps and everything like they do right now on this vehicle. It's one of those cars that you run across very rarely, and it's a convertible, which is rare in itself. There's a lot of Chevelles out there, a lot of SS Chevelles and a lot of clones. That is a convertible, a very, very difficult car to locate, and especially in a 4-speed with air. I mean, how much better does it get? You got power steering, you got power brakes, you have vintage air conditioning in it, you have a 4-speed. I don't know what tranny yet. We'll get under a car and we'll be able to define that for you. But it's got the correct SS wheels on it even. I mean, white letter BFG tires. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal find. It's here at Hankster's in Daytona Beach, and would love everybody to come down and take a look at this car. I would absolutely flip out to show you this car in person. But if you can't come down, that's why Devin's doing these videos for you. And we try to put them up as fast as we can. Again, you know, we've, I think, got 42 or something like that, 43 videos present on our website now. But we have 70-some cars on the site at this point. Problem is we're selling them faster than Devin and I can get these things videoed and photographed and put up on a site to show you. So if you have a desire of a specific car, even though you don't see it on our website, give us a call, because there's a good chance that we have it in our inventory. So, you know, it's something we could take a few quick pictures for you and then kind of move it to the head of the line so we can get the thing videoed for you so you can get a better view of exactly what it is. But that guy is something that you really got to take a look at if you're in the market for a Chevelle in a convertible 4-speed. Hankster's in Daytona Beach, Florida. Okay, this is the interior of our 1970 SS style Chevelle convertible. I mean, this car is just totally, it's the first time I got a chance to look at it. We just got it and literally just wiped it off. So that's as far as we got with the detail, because it really didn't need anything else. You can see it has a new top on it. And we showed you how tight that was wound up on it, just as nice as can be. It does have all new pads on it also, and all new hardware. Everything is just as nice as can be. The sun visors themselves have no deterioration or no stitching coming loose, which is real common on these old cars to have the sun visors deteriorate a little bit. The mirror is the correct day-night mirror, and there's no milkiness or fogginess or anything whatsoever in it. Dashboard still has resilience to it. It is the original dash. There's a mark. I can't feel it. I can't see it from in here, but you can see it from the outside. There's a hairline, a very, very hairline, minute imperfection in it. Not fixing, and don't even touch it. Just leave it alone. Dashboard itself, real nice, clean dash enclosure. Has tachometer, it has speedometer, it has a clock, has a quadrant of gauges in it. And check this out. When was the last time you saw an 8-track AM radio? Original General Motors. This guy's got to be worth a fortune just for this radio. We don't know if it works yet or not, but we'll give that a shot whenever we take it for a ride. All your knobs, all your controls and everything for the air and for your vents, just as new and straight and clean as can possibly be. Your air conditioning vents, of course, underneath, and one on each side of the dash. SS correct style steering wheel that's on the car. Horns working just as they should. The steering wheel has no cracks whatsoever in it. I don't detect absolutely anything on it that's crack-wise. It has the original SS designated style door panels on the front. All your door actuators and door window cranks are just as new and fresh as you'd ever hope to find. Same thing with the panels in the back. They're new. There's no deterioration whatsoever on them. Inside the doors looks like it was manufactured in 1970, and we just got it. There's no deterioration or no dirt whatsoever in it. Your rubbers are all new and replaced. Everything's nice and fresh and resilient. Armrests in the front are the correct molded style armrests. They are not covered up with vinyl like a lot of them are. The armrests in the back, they don't have trash trays in them. That's unusual. Usually these cars have trash trays in the back. There's one in the dash here though. Headrests are the molded original equipment headrest. Take a look at what you have to pay for a pair of these guys if you can find the original ones yet that aren't cracked up. These are not. They're in absolute as new condition, and they are the original headrests on the car. The interior, the back seat and the front seat, everything matches just the way it should. It has the original basket weave style inserts in the seat with the little chrome designator on all four of them, the 2 buckets and 2 in the back. Everything on this car is just as fresh and new as it was when it was new. It does have a complement of seat belts in it, front and rear. Has all the belts in it. It has loop pile carpeting in it, just the way it should be. SS454 designated floor mats in it also, front and rear. And has a beautiful console. There's absolutely no deterioration on it whatsoever. The four-speed designating shift pattern on the console itself. The chrome, which is usually deteriorated on these cars through years, is just as fresh and nice as can possibly be. Hurst Shifter in it with the chrome ball the way it would have been. Look at this. Is that sweet or what? That's about as nice a shifter as you could hope to ever find. I don't see anything. I mean, this car is as new inside as it was outside. There's absolutely glove compartment just as nice and clean as it was in 1970. You got a glove box on the console also. The liner for the top is nice and fresh. All your bows and all your pads in the bows are nice and tight and fresh also. You're looking at a 1970 car that is absolutely brand new. There's no way that you can buy a newer 1970 Chevelle than what you're looking at here at Hangsters in Daytona Beach right now. This is it. Okay, we just fired up our 1970 Chevelle SS car. You can see that the tachometer is functioning as it should. Working just as it should. Speedometer I know is going to work. How about this? The clock works. The clock. Are you kidding me? Amp gauge is functioning as it should on this end over here. And we got a temperature gauge just coming off the mark. We just started it up. The fuel gauge we're showing just a little under half, between a quarter and a half, which is about right. The wipers are just beating themselves to death out there just the way they're supposed to. Okay, left turn signal, you can't see it because of this miserable sunlight down here, but it is functioning as it should. It is blinking, and the right one also. It is blinking also. But we're in bright light. Horn. Horn is working as it should. What do you think? Radio? No way. There's no way a radio is going to work after all these years. And it doesn't. Radio doesn't work. But it is an original 8-track radio. You'd never take that out. Let's see about air conditioning. Air conditioning is on, and I think it's starting to get cold. I think it cooled it down to about 120. It's on. The light shows that it's on, but it's just so hot out here that it is starting to cool down now. It absolutely is starting to cool down. So the air does work. We got to go do this ride before it gets any hotter. I got to get out of the sunlight. This is a nice tight car. Speedometer is functioning just as it should. It's not jumping or moving around or anything. It's just as nice as can be. Let's see here. We're going to let go of the steering wheel. And we're going down the road straight as an arrow. Down as straight as can possibly be. Okay, let's try brakes, no hands. Straight as can be. This thing pulls like it should. There's no question this thing's making 450, 500 horsepower. Nice, strong running big block Chevy. That was just a little shot in first and second gear. I ran out of room. There was another guy in front. But, nice pulling car. Pulls just the way it should. Nice running car. Well, this is the undercarriage of one absolutely stunning 1970 Chevelle SS Convertible. This car is absolutely breathtaking. Everywhere you look at it, it reeks nothing but quality and fit and finish. Everything on this car is that way. Brand new set of shocks in the front. The pull springs are also new. It's got a huge anti-sway bar in the front. New idler arm, new pitman arm, looks like an updated steering box on it. The engine has been out and completely addressed. You can see that it's a complete fresh rebuild. It has a silicone $50 oil tank gasket on it. Bell housing area has no leaks whatsoever on it. The transmission is a M21 Muncie. Long tube headers on it, 3-inch collectors going into 2.5-inch primary pipes. Oh gosh, let's see here. The calipers appear to be relatively new. The hardware is brand new on them, still has the cadmium plating on the ends of it. Rotors are nice and fat. New ball joints, new sway bar ends to them, sway bar links. Let's see. Conventional starter does not have a gear reduction starter on it. Appears that the clutch has been out at some point here recently. New linkage also installed on it. The shifter is a Hurst Shifter, and it is absolutely brand new. And someone has installed a new Hurst Shifter on this with all new bushings in it also. The subframes on it and the inner fender panels where they transition down, they're not dented or compromised in any way. The subframes themselves, the box area is just as sweet and nice as can possibly be. The hardtop cars have a C-channel section where it stops the box frame, C-channel, and then it starts the box frame in the back again. Convertibles are a little different. They're a little structurally better. They have an entire box frame, front to back, on these vehicles, in the convertible only. The rear mount has been replaced and new. You can see there's a new speedometer cable on it. Parking brake assembly is hooked up and functional. A new fuel line was installed with all new bracketry on it. It appears to be either, can't really tell, it kind of looks like stainless steel to me, but I don't want to make a call one way or the other. The brake line itself is a stainless brake line, and it does have the wire winding on it heading toward the rear of the vehicle. Again, 2.5-inch primary pipes, new U-joint in the front. The floor pans are absolutely the original floor pans that came in this car. All your structural bracing underneath them is intact and original, just the way it came in 1970 from General Motors. You can see where all the frame sections are not obstructed or deteriorated or compromised in any way. I don't even see any jack marks on it anywhere. That's totally amazing. Usually you see jack marks here and there, and this car has absolutely none. Zip. Let's see. Jeez. This car is like a brand new car underneath. Again, the floor pans are the original pans. The structural bracing, everything is just the way it was in 1970. It has the boxed swing arms in the back with a F41 style sway bar also in the rear of this vehicle, so it does have F41 suspension in it. All new bushings in the swing arms themselves, and again the structural bracing, the boxing into the swing arms. The drive shaft is it had a new U-joint in the front, appears to have been out and been balanced too. Has a new U-joint in the rear. It has a new yoke on the rear end, which is a 12-bolt Chevy heavy-duty posi rear end in it. New seal in the front of it. Ventilated drum brakes in the front to coincide with the discs, or in the back to coincide with the discs in the front. 2.5-inch pipes coming out of the Flowmaster mufflers also. So you got an entire 2.5-inch exhaust system on it. It has a set of new shocks also in the back. The rear springs appear to be nice and taut yet, and they appear to have been replaced. That's why the car has a nice stance to it, nice even stance. They are not air shocks, they're conventional shocks. It has a replacement gas tank, I'm going to call it. I can't tell if it's stainless or if it's just galvanized tin, but it is definitely a new fuel tank in the rear of it. Oh, the trunk area is just as brand new and fresh as it was in 1970. You can see up above the gas tank and alongside your frame sections in the back, which are a box frame until the last foot or so that goes back into a C channel with the structural brace that ties the two of them together in the rear of the car, which is right behind the rear valance. There's no pull marks or anything on it. It's totally undisturbed from the day it was new. Drop downs in the quarter panels and your flares in the back of the wheel wells are all original and totally as new. There's not a single mark on any of them. It has a lot of the originality underneath it yet. The painting on the frame is still original. Some of the splatter undercoating the GM installed back in '70 is still predominant on this vehicle. Again, all your boxed sections of frame are just as nice and fresh as could possibly be. There's absolutely nothing in the back of this car that's or in the front or in the middle of it for that matter that I can find a negative to. The correct stainless steel style exhaust going out the back. Wow, this thing's just over the top nice. And again, you can see, at least at this point, it's not leaking anywhere on the engine, transmission, or rear end. But it's a muscle car, so it will at some point. There's no question in my mind. There's going to be oil on the floor at some point of its life. It's just an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, mostly original vehicle. Other than the paint and some upgrades on the outside, there's just absolutely nothing that you can find a negative on this car. And obviously that's not a negative, it's a plus, but there's so much originality under here that there's no question that this car has never suffered any trauma through the years of any sort. Even the front end, everything in the front end, your pieces, the front piece of the frame, there's no places where it's been compromised in any way. This is a brand new 1970 Chevelle convertible. There is absolutely no way that you could buy a nicer, finer, better running 1970 Chevelle convertible that we have here at Hangsters at Daytona Beach. Check this guy out. It's worth a look.